Cursed by the old gods in Bethany, we are 5 immortals doomed to roam the galaxy until we complete our 1001 tasks. After centuries of having our memories sticked around, ready to complete our destiny and die, we are, for now, the immortals. This is episode 88.
Woo!
Yeah, 88. 88 is actually a really good number, guys. 88 it's like, I just really like numbers that are divisible by 11.
Yeah, the
it's
11
a great
is cool.
number.
8's cool.
Aren't there 88 keys on a piano?
Yes.
That's cool.
It feels like a famous sports number, like someone's 88.
Yeah, I think someone's 88. Yeah, it's good times.
Anyway, once again, we gotta
We're a
quiet.
numbers review podcast.
No, we gotta quiet down a little.
Yes,
bit.
we are.
Because we are a review podcast of which we are set in outer space, trying to find old gods, but also because someone is not the best at creating AI. The AI is trying to kill us, and we're hiding in the pod bay. Anyway, I'm
Not
Austin.
my fault.
I'm Adam.
The silence is because our captain right now is quiet and hiding from Marian, but
Yeah, but
Is it-
I'm Sarah. It's just weird that Leigh's not here.
I know.
It is weird,
You
because
guys-
she would be next.
You guys did not
Yeah.
react well to that pause.
No.
It was the wrong pause.
You two looked really confused.
It was the wrong.
Wait, do I usually go after Adam?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought Leigh went after Adam, or does Leo last?
Because
I go last.
Yeah, Lee's second to last.
You still haven't said your name.
Oh, I'm Pedro.
Okay, so once again, us 4 are hiding in the pod bays because Marian can't see us here. Leigh, in the past week, is unfortunately further trapped in her captain's chair and isn't able to join us in the pod bays because Marian had her hostage. It's a thing. Hopefully,
That'll happen,
Hopefully, we'll be
yeah.
able to connect with her later. It's
not great.
It's unclear, but that's what happens in a review podcast. This shit
Yeah.
happens to Film Spotting every other week,
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
and you have to go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's what we did, and we built this spaceship to go to outer space.
What do you mean we?
When we watched you build a spaceship,
We clearly
you.
should have participated a little bit more than we did.
because this is
Fucked up.
problematic.
Not my fault that you were mean to the AI. It's a thing.
That's true. And this is
Sentient.
100% Austin's fault.
We have no recording of this, so it's fine.
I feel like that Pedro is actually very good at creating AI. It just didn't go in our favor. this
Right. I
time.
mean, like it
Okay,
is.
yeah.
It is. It is
Yes,
like
thank you,
an
Adam.
artificial
You're
intelligence, the likes of which the world has never seen. It just doesn't like you.
In fiction,
World also
how many
hasn't seen
times
it
does the
because
AI
they
go
haven't.
right? I mean, obviously the film AI.
iRobot,
Bicentennial Man.
They'll try to take over the world.
not
And then-
not the robot, not
Not-
the one, not
No.
the iRobot.
That's not what that meant.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of like harmless AI stories. Where you're
Batteries not included.
where
I've
you're
seen that.
instead fighting like monsters or something, and then the robots help.
Morty.
Star Wars,
Short Circuit, Short Circuit 2,
Star Trek.
Not Quite Human, Not Quite Human 2,
Our point,
Not Quite
Austin.
Human 3.
Our point,
Wall-E.
Austin, is that this was not a foregone conclusion. This is your fault.
We'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. Meanwhile, we're just gonna hide in the very cramped pod bay that we've been here for a few weeks now, uncomfortably.
Does not smell good.
It smells poor. It is not good. Not a time to be airlocked. Anywho,
We don't have to be airlocked.
what?
We're still in the spaceship.
What? We could have had candles and shit. I don't know.
Yeah?
None of this makes sense.
Someone said Wall-E, right?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Wall-E.
Wait, the ship's computer tried to kill them all.
Yeah, but Wally didn't.
That's still.
You're right. No, Wally. No.
That's
Fair point. Wally is definitely a rogue AI story.
Yeah. At the very least, telling of both columns.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Anywho, we're a review podcast. And since we're cursed, we have to review the 1001 movies, albums, food, songs, children's books, and TV shows that you must consume before you die. Last week, our brain trust of Adam and Pedro came up with the number 435 to review. And according to those published books, we are reviewing the following things. The movie is Vinyl. The album we are still going to review, because hopefully Leigh will send in a segment, is Fear of Music by Talking Heads.
The food is smoked Snoek.
The song is Hotel California by the Eagles.
The children's book is The Adventures of Gian Burrasca.
And the TV show is Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it is.
But let's start right with Vinyl.
Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide. Got nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide.
Vinyl is a film
Is it?
that
Is it?
came out sometime. It is.
Andy Warhol masturbating on camera?
I mean, I didn't look that careful in the background, so maybe. But okay. Andy Warhol. I feel like everyone, there's degrees in which we know who Andy Warhol is. Everyone knows the soup can paintings, the style of the four colors and the four squares. Like, he has that certain style from the 60s. If you go further into Andy Warhol's art, you recognize things that are not as mainstream as those things. Like when he made a film that lasted, I think, 30 hours of just pointing at a skyscraper. This is like that, except he adapted A Clockwork Orange, did it all in one shot, and what's the best way to describe this? If you've been to a black box play and regretted it 5 minutes in, but you can't leave because it's live and there's no intermission and it's just a 60-minute thing, that's this.
That's this.
Yeah.
This is, according to the book, purposely wooden acting to do the bare minimum of A Clockwork Orange, of which a guy is bad and then a guy is tortured to be good. That leave anything out. And the movie is not on DVD and such because it is filled with very, very famous British pop songs. This is now the, I think, 5th film that I have not seen going into this.
What'd you think, Austin?
Not a fan. Not a fan of this one. It had everything going against it. So I don't like Clockwork Orange. I'm not a big Andy Warhol fan. I tend not to like black box theater, and weirdly, despite doing this podcast, I'm not a fan of pretension. So it was this losing battle for me. But let's talk with you guys because we have to stretch this out to 20 minutes somehow. So.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Did anyone like it?
I didn't hate it as much as everybody else, I think.
It wasn't. I didn't feel like the movie offended me, but it's not my jam.
I mean, yeah.
No, but, okay, so we often praise movies sometimes on this show that are notably different. Especially, we're 88 episodes in, so we've actually seen now I think 90 plus films because it's a bunch of reviews. We've seen films that look like the traditional. We're starting to get maybe a little fatigued with the 3-act structure or a certain model. This is notably not that.
Sure.
Is it anyway remarkable enough to be remembered, would you say?
I don't know. I feel like this is just it's kind of an entry on the list as a stand-in for oh yeah, Andy Warhol was a thing. And I have problems with a lot of Andy Warhol, and that I think that he is almost the definition of edgy for the sake of edgy, experimental without a viewpoint. Just not my jam. And I don't like A Clockwork Orange, which I also think is that. Those two things go together. I'm not surprised that Andy Warhol was I really love A Clockwork Orange. Yeah. Both have this very sort of, there's this shallow societal critique over a pit of nothingness. And that's what I felt like with this. I mean, it's oh, look, my main actor is going to be, unusually wooden and weird, and we're not going to rehearse this. before we put it on, and I'm just gonna have Edie Sedgwick sitting in the corner, never doing anything as like
Drinking
an
and
observer.
smoking.
Because
That weirdly worked for me. That was the one bit of like upper class or just kind of like watching bad things happen. I didn't mind the woman just sitting there for the entire hour.
I just like it's a lot of ideas and no payoff. It's just not good. I didn't like it. I don't think I understand the urge to include something like this kind of experimental film on the list. I don't even know if I would call this a movie. I might call it a piece of visual art, which is like, I feel this would be more at home in an Andy Warhol art gallery, just because of there's not as, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like it. It doesn't, that's what I got.
It does feel really weird and awkward watching it. The constant torture scene bit is just a little
Well, much?
not necessarily
you mean
hard
that
to watch, but
45
annoying
minutes?
to watch. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was like for the first portion of it, there was a different guy being tortured in the background.
Yep.
That you could just barely see, and then
that
it
was
sort
the-
of turned to the other guy.
But that was the guy getting raped, right? Like that was what that
was
was
that
like.
what was happening?
Well, that was like his like that was the main character's like evil towards society, and then he was being tortured of like,
Yeah.
oh, here are the films of bad things happening, torture. So, again, this is all one shot, very tight shot, not lit really.
I mean, and I do think like that. That was a cool. I mean, like it's an interesting concept to have all those things going on at once in a movie and to tell a story that way. That I'm not against it as a theory. I think this simple concept could be used to great effect. I just don't think it was here. I don't think it made anything that was particularly memorable.
It could have been a more well-made film. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be, but just like technical aspects of how I can't see what's happening over there. This guy just got cut off. No one is aware
Yeah.
of where the camera is looking, except for Edie Sedgwick. She's somehow just always on camera because she doesn't move. Someone is clearly refilling her drink because she's just constantly. And then their cup disappears off camera for a little bit, then it comes back. She's just there to be there.
Didn't you say it was unrehearsed?
Mm-hmm.
So
It's done in
kinda
one take,
all
completely
one take.
unrehearsed.
I could barely understand what anyone was saying. The audio was horrible.
Again,
well, again, this hasn't been properly remastered because they don't have the license to any of those songs.
I guess
And there's so many like the kinks.
Well, and that's, I guess, maybe why I saw it more as like a piece of performance art than I did as a. That's the better phrase. Is a piece of filmed performance art than I did as a movie. It lacked any of the things that we normally do to make a story conveyed by film worth watching and easily understandable and like focused on the story rather than the act of filming the story. Certainly there are edges to film where those lines blur. This to me was fully over the line into a filmed piece of performance art that I was not that into.
Adam, what say you? You seemed to initially say that you were a bigger fan than us.
Yeah, well, I think I saw it as there was someone said a line about trying to mechanize humans, and so I latched onto that and kind of put everything else into that kind of perspective, and so with the unconventional camera angle, I think that all served to make everyone look not human, and people were not doing human things. So I don't think we were necessarily supposed to see anyone as like acting inherently human, except for maybe in the dancing segment, which even then it was like rigid and
Weird,
and
yeah.
stilted and weird.
That was when the angle worked best for me. I liked it when he was at the very beginning, when it was like the joy-free, amoral version. He was dancing right at the camera, right center. I found that to be a really evocative image.
Yeah,
Right.
I also enjoyed that image.
And so I think that the story of A Clockwork Orange kind of works for that, because it's taking away Victor's kind of like even though it's shitty, it's the free will that he's exercising is shitty, like being a shitty person. We still shouldn't take that away from, humans. So, I don't know, if that is what Andy Warhol was going for, then I think that worked. That worked for me. But overall, I agree with Sarah that it seems like more of a performance piece, and it's only a movie because it was filmed. Which, on the one hand, that's fine, but on the other hand, on the one hand, I don't like that about it, but on the other hand, if it's Andy Warhol saying that movies are, what we define as a movie is so rigid that we can't call this a movie because it has a camera angle and it was rehearsed one time, what does that mean?
And I guess I would have been interested in that perspective, like, if he had addressed it a little bit more head on. I mean, I think that's an interesting question. Where are the bounds where are the external bounds of cinema? What do you have to have? What do you have to do other than film something to make it a movie? Do you have to do anything at all? But I didn't feel like because I was thinking about that during the film, but I don't think he used this medium to tell a different story that I'm not sure worked as well, and I don't know. Also, I don't like A Clockwork Orange. I think it's shallow philosophy. I think it is a overdone point made that appeals to people. I'm sorry, but it appeals to people who think shallowly because it sells an overdone point with shock value, which means you can look edgy and cool by liking it, and I don't like it. I hate A Clockwork Orange. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
There was a good discussion of A Clockwork Orange on Let's Take 5 that I'm on.
So you had a good discussion about A Clockwork Orange.
I'm sorry to figure out how any of this canon works, but whatever. We were watching that movie. I still did not like the Kubrick version, but at least there was one part in it where I feel like I got what the book was going for. Where the parts during basically right after the torturing of him, where you see the really strong satire of the prison system. Mm-hmm. That is when the movie was really working. Unfortunately, it was like a third of the film, and I think
the rest of it's weird.
I think it handled the other two parts. That part is not in vinyl at all.
So it's like the one thing you care about, yeah.
So
yeah, vinyl, I think just kind of fizzles out.
It does.
It forgot to do halfway through.
Yeah, I think that all the actors were just like, what were they doing? What were they putting in their noses at the end? The doctor was...
I assumed it was like cocaine or some weird ass.
It was the after party.
They just started the after party early.
I do enjoy that during the film, Andy Warhol used a technique that I've only seen by one other filmmaker, Mr.
You've seen that before?
Mr. Pedro Aubrey.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you just, during a film you made in high school, you just didn't have time to actually film a credit sequence, so you just set it on camera.
Well, yeah, mostly. I did it at the end. It was written, but it was live.
I really enjoy that, actually, doing the credits. Whenever.
We're doing it now.
It was like 3 distinct times, and they kind of fit with a certain cadence in the film.
I kind of wish you just did.
I just wish I knew what that cadence was. But
how great would it have been if one of those 3 was an ad break?
Sure.
Buy, I don't know, cigarette brand.
American Spirits.
Buy some American Spirits. Smoke them if you got them. American Spirits. That would have been like an amazing little satirical thing to do.
Because Warhol was one of the guys, right, on camera? Right?
I think so.
Okay. He wasn't the blonde guy.
No, the blonde guy is not.
Okay.
He wasn't Evicentric.
No.
I saw a shadow pass in front of the camera once. I bet that was him walking
That seems
in front
right.
of the camera.
He had to go to the bathroom.
Oh shit! So he said those things out loud during the film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Was it him?
I think he might have been him narrating.
Yeah, that
for
was
sure.
No, that was his. I think
So
pretty sure that
by
was
so
Andy
so
Warhol's
yeah.
voice.
It was.
All right, we're done.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you like Clockwork Orange, Adam?
I haven't seen it in so long,
Really?
but I've not read the book.
Okay. I like it, don't love it. This is not. It took me a while to figure out what was going on, even knowing that this was an adaptation.
I think I remember feeling kind of hollow afterwards after watching A Clockwork Orange.
You don't
No,
feel-
that's
you
what
don't feel
it's
great.
going
Yeah.
for.
Yeah,
so.
that's what you're supposed to feel. Not invigorated. Anywho, I give this is up since I started the discussion, 1.5 hinges.
Wow.
1.
I'll give it 2.
I'll say 2.3.
All right, that is vinyl due to it pretty much not being
Yeah,
allowed
it's
to
real
be
hard to
out.
find.
It's on YouTube and other streaming sites, just not on DVD because of all the music that we didn't really talk about. But yeah,
Was it ever on VHS even?
I don't know.
I mean,
Like,
it never
can't.
got any kind of distribution.
I think
rights
it
to
plays in museums. Like
Yeah,
with it,
I would
yeah.
assume that. Yeah.
All right. Typically, this is where we'd go to the album segment, but Leigh is still seemed like trapped in the captain's room.
Aw.
Hopefully, we'll be able to hear from her later. I'll say a few thoughts because I don't want to overlap anything that she might say later. Did you guys hear the album?
Unfortunately
Once.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is Fear of Music by Talking Heads. I love the Talking Heads. This is not my favorite album of theirs, but that doesn't mean it isn't amazing because it's the Talking Heads, and it has a couple of I think all-time great songs, and I think only one song I dislike, which is the very first one. But honestly, I could listen to Talking Heads like all the time. It is my exact mixture of like cool sound and evocative lyrics, and you seem confused every time I said an adjective.
Except for the comment about you didn't like the first song, because I also didn't like the first song. I never really got into the Talking Heads. I never tried. I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. And nothing hit. I thought it was kind of boring. I can't explain why. It was just bland feeling.
That's okay.
Yeah. Nothing popped out. I actually can't. I can barely remember the album.
I'm so bad at titles. I'm looking up. I really like the song "Cities," and I like. There's one song I never knew the title of. Like I knew the whole song, but I never knew what it was called. So I always wasn't able to look it up as easily. It is Heaven. Heaven is fantastic. You see it in a lot of movies and such. Life During Wartime, also a fantastic song. There's a movie called Life During Wartime. That I like the
Is
song
it
better.
related?
I mean, it wasn't a coincidence. The movie was called
Okay.
that, but the Talking Heads didn't make the movie. No, it's a sequel to Happiness. If you've seen Happiness, that's on the list. Boy, look forward to that episode. That's
Are
Is
people
it happy?
nope,
Okay.
nope.
Oh, you.
Nope. That's one of those one-timer films that I will
Okay.
have to watch again for this podcast.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm gonna leave see more when she hopefully is able to chime in when she's not being trapped by an AI in our spaceship. Anything else you want to say? I don't want to go too much in case we.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It's just meh. Very meh. That's it.
Alright, I'll give it 4 hinges.
3.
All right, that is Fear of Music by Talking Heads. Sarah.
So because we're in space, I
Uh-huh.
can't get this fish that's in South Africa. Also, it's only in South Africa. It sounds really tasty. It's like a special smoked fish.
What's it called?
Smoked Snoek. It's like a thing that apparently is very common in South Africa, based on the Google. I'm sorry I couldn't get it. I feel bad about it. That's where we are in my life. The end.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm a failure.
No, this is our shortest episode ever. It's great.
Damn.
Now it's time for.
Yeah.
Do we just talk about Hotel California?
We do get to talk about Hotel California.
Well, Pedro, what song did we listen to this week?
We listened to Hotel California by the Eagles.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Up ahead in the
Hotel California was a song written by the Eagles. Came out in 1977. February 22nd. 22277. That's a fun number.
Why?
It's got 3 2s, which are primes, and 2 7s, and there's 5 of them. All prime numbers everywhere.
I feel like you were terrible at Yahtzee. Look, it's like a 1, a 3, and 2 4s. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's nothing. Also, you're missing a die.
All right.
I don't even know how. I've never played Yahtzee.
You've never played Yahtzee?
I never played Yahtzee.
We've been stuck in a pod bay for weeks.
Are you like, you have Yahtzee?
Yes!
Could have asked Marian to make die.
She's trying to kill us.
Now.
She's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Anywho, I believe there's no real introduction needed to this song. It's it's their most famous song by far, I'm sure. Their album was also called Hotel California. I think it was their first.
No.
Was it? No.
It's.
Right.
I mean, it is their. It's their big single, but by this point they were pretty famous. I mean, they were. Yeah.
Long ballad of music and guitar and awesome, just rock legendary.
Did it ever feel long to you?
No.
No.
Because vinyl feels like a 4-hour film.
Interminable.
Yeah.
And this feels like a minute long sometimes.
Yeah.
It does. It's weird.
Because the Hotel California, I mean, I'm bad at music. I first heard this while watching The Big Lebowski.
Fair. That's a completely
That's a-
respectable place to know Hotel California.
That's a great use in that movie.
Yeah.
And that's also just a great soundtrack movie. Mm-hmm. That's one I've heard many times. Hotel California, it is, perhaps because I first heard it with Big Lebowski, it is like one of those like classy ass drug songs.
from.
You know what I mean? It's not just like, I'm smoking weed, or, you know, because I got high. You know, it's not, it's more subtle than that. It's a classy thing. It's Hotel California.
It's so funny because I don't think of Hotel California as a drug song, although, I mean, I'm sure it's great to do drugs too. I have a real soft spot for any rock song that isn't about love. A rock song that is about literally anything but love, I'm going to be a big fan of. And Hotel California is absolutely one of the coolest set of lyrics in a really famous song. I'm just thinking about others. Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles is another song not about love that is in the great.
Is that a rock song?
Yeah.
No.
It absolutely is a rock song.
That's sad pop.
It's a rock song. Everything the Beatles
Wait.
made is rock and roll.
Adam, you seem to smile. How are you voting for this?
I like sad pop as a genre.
Yeah.
But this song is you're never quite sure how to feel about it. It has this I would watch the TV show based on this show, right? I mean,
I would.
And it was intentional that it was supposed to be this weird Twilight Zone episode.
All right, fine. Adam, redub the Paradise with Hotel California.
Right, but
Okay.
There we go.
It's really
You don't have to do that.
don't do that. It's really it's a really evocative little short story about two people going for a drive and going into this hotel where you can check in any time but you can never leave.
It's a lovely place.
It's just so
It
good.
probably is, though.
And I mean, it's also a metaphor for California and the West Coast and the way that you get trapped there
It's
in the
literally LA.
it's literally LA that you get trapped in the glitz and the glamour and you can't leave, but it's also not that, and it's also actually a story about two people driving in the desert and finding a creepy hotel.
Pedro would be one of those guys who checked in there for a week in 1981, but now it's 2017.
Yeah. Why not?
Along with
you would
everybody
be that
else,
side character.
along with everybody else in the Hotel California, it's just cool. It's
It's a lovely place.
just so cool. I love this song. And, of course, the guitar and the vocals are amazing. It's got everything going for it. There's nothing bad about this song. This is a perfect song.
Yep.
Adam, what do you say?
I didn't listen to it this week.
We've been in the same goddamn pod bay.
He's been rocking back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah, I need a break.
From us. Oh boy. I feel like once they catch up to more reviews than you, you're just gonna listen to an album's worth of songs and go, oh, back up ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I feel like I'm so far ahead that that's going to be a while.
Luckily, no one's ever felt that in a Fable before.
No, yeah, definitely not.
Pedro, what say you? You usually bring an element of musical technicality to these reviews, and I zone out for a bit.
Yeah, but there's nothing to add. I could talk about the guitar solo, which is one of the greatest solos of all time, but there's, like, it just hits all the spots. It starts, I don't know which came out first, Stairway to Heaven or this, but, like, it has that characteristic. I love how it starts with a simple 12-string opening up. You don't have a lot of 12-string, but when you want that feeling, this is what you get. I don't. Stairway to Heaven didn't open up with a 12-string, but it had it heavily featured. But it's all just done really well, and I can't really. It's
Stairway to Heaven 71, and this is 77, and we all should have been alive in the 70s. Like,
right?
We
damn.
were.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
I know, we had a memories wipe.
It's just an objectively good song because everything is good about it.
But it's not one of those perfect rock songs. Like, it's not just that everything is good. It's also like Hotel California gets me. Like, you know, it's like,
Sure.
I listen to this song and I like turn it up and like am in a Hotel California state of mind.
Yeah, see, I don't have that because I don't listen to lyrics. So I don't really know
Oh, you're missing out.
I mean, like,
reviewing a 5-minute song, you listen to the lyrics.
I mean, I've heard the words. I can even say, like, some of the sentences, but I never really thought about it. It's just, to me, like a good rolling piece of
That's insane.
music.
That's insane.
This explains why I keep saying it's a lovely place and you give me a blank look. I thought it was just like contempt.
I know it's a lovely place. But
Oh my god.
You should try it. You should try thinking about the lyrics.
You should.
I guess I
You
should.
typically listen to the song like 40 times
Actually,
on recording day.
I started reading them, and it sounded like it was more about a lady.
No, you started. You didn't finish them.
I guess I didn't. I
Jesus
got like halfway
Christ.
through.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Wow. Well, I give Pedro's attention span 0 inches.
It's okay, he's zoned out for the insult part.
Oh,
Wait, what?
no.
Anyway, I can't really do justice to this song. It's just.
It's your job to do justice. Literally, you're about to critique it. You're giving justice.
There's nothing to critique. It's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
No, critiques can be good.
Okay, it is actually fairly generic. Nothing is like invented or created with this song. Nothing
Except the lyrics.
The story isn't even that weird. There have been stories like this before. I can't name any, but this isn't the first time they've talked about being trapped in a place. The fact that it's a metaphor for something that exists. LA, everyone talks about LA like that. You go there, and after a little bit, you just don't realize it's been too long. I don't know.
Wait. Nothing that's a metaphor is original because it's a metaphor for something. So you said?
Yes.
Holy shit.
This is your fault for asking him to critique it. This is a perfect song.
This is episode 88 of a critique show.
I mean, I can't argue that it's not a perfect song.
It's a perfect song.
But I do stand by that. Actually, nothing in it is particularly crazy, novel.
Well, and that's kind of not the Eagles thing, right? Like, I mean, they're not Led Zeppelin. Like, the Eagles, I feel like, are like sort of like bedrock
Yeah,
rock
exactly.
music, you know what I mean?
Foundational.
Like, they're not, I don't generally think of the Eagles as super innovative
No,
in the
that's
way
just
that I
it.
would call Led Zeppelin or Jimi Hendrix or...
Which kind of makes it more impressive because
Right,
they
I mean,
aren't
they
that
just-
good at
Exactly.
doing
but,
their
like, the
craft.
fact that they, who are not these sort of like, I mean, they are virtuosic musicians, but they are not. The fact that this is, in many ways, just a rock song
Yeah.
and is as good as it is awesome.
It is. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm
All right.
perfectly fine hinging this.
Hinge it.
4.95.
Why? Why the 0.5 off? It's a perfect song.
Maybe it's because it's missing that.
That je sais quoi?
Yeah, the
5.
4.6. He didn't hear it.
Adam, you should go listen to Hotel California. It's a perfect
I
song.
have many times, just not this week.
All right, that is Hotel California by the Eagles. They have a second song? Are they a group?
They're like really famous.
They are. I got the whole album.
Do they have other songs that are in movies?
Well,
I don't know.
They have other songs that you have heard of.
If they're not in movies, probably not.
Oh, Austin.
Speaking of probably not,
Lion
Same.
Eyes, famous song. Desperado.
Desperado
Okay, yeah.
is a film by Robert
Oh
Rodriguez
my god,
from
you're
1995,
a monster.
which I'm pretty sure is in that movie.
Probably.
Starring Antonio Banderas.
Take it easy.
Great guy.
Do you know? Just generally, you're a fan.
I just like him, yeah.
All right. Anywho, let's continue with our shortest episode with the children's book segment.
Or let's not, because The Adventures of Gian Burrasca by Vamba is in Italian.
You didn't learn
I
Italian
said-
for this?
I said, let's continue on with our shortest episode, and then you said, let's not. So that means
That
you've
means you
learned
need a
Italian
review.
and can review this.
No, that's all.
So yeah, there's no English translation. We can't even consult our AI to translate it because we're hiding from her.
She's a maniac.
Maniac.
So it's our shortest episode ever. So what you're telling me is we need to fill the time by talking about Twin Peaks for an hour.
Yes.
So the TV show this week is Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is a show that originally aired on ABC in the early 90s. It was created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. It is a story. It is the story of a young woman who was murdered in a small town called Twin Peaks. It is in the Pacific Northwest, and an eccentric FBI agent is brought into the small town.
Do you say eccentric? It's supposed to eccentric?
Eccentric. I say eccentric.
Okay.
Do y'all say
There's
eccentric?
there's
There's an X in it. You just said eccentric, and I've heard you say that before, and I think it's interesting.
ECC.
Two Cs.
It's two C's.
I know,
I've
but
heard
I always put
eccentric
an
before.
X in it. I know there isn't one, but I pronounce it with an X.
Is that a like?
Eccentric.
Is that like a Midwest thing? Or am
Maybe
just
it
wrong?
is.
think-
I don't know.
I've always heard eccentric a lot.
Weird.
Either way, you know what? This is a kind of conversation that will actually be in Twin Peaks.
It's true.
Because it is a mixture of trying to solve this murder of like a homecoming queen like character mixed with interdimensional evil demons who-
Yeah.
with dancing dwarves who speak backwards. That's the show.
Yeah.
And so it's made by David Lynch, and this is after he made such films like Eraserhead and Blue Velvet, where he is an established cinematic weirdo. And
Why did anyone see those and go, we should give this guy a TV show? Very strange.
thank God they did.
A lot of his movies are great.
Yeah, and then some are just, bad. But he has the good ones.
One of his best films is on this TV show.
Play Walk With Me?
Yeah.
Which I've not seen. So, okay, so I'll say it now. I have now,
I've not seen it either.
literally a few minutes before recording this episode, I have finished my rewatch of seasons 1 and 2. There were about 4 in season 2 that I skipped when I first saw it in college.
Did you miss anything?
I would have liked watching the episode, the penultimate episode, because there's something pretty good in there. And I've now seen, so this is the first time us recording a show where the TV show is currently on, because unlike Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Gotham, Fate had it where we actually were reviewing it during the hiatus. This aired a few days ago. Unfortunately, I am 4 episodes behind.
Yeah.
So I've seen the first 10 episodes of the third season of Twin Peaks, which is now coming back 25 years later.
As promised.
As promised in the season 2 finale. In between there was a movie that Pedro alluded to called Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me that was made not too long after the show was canceled. That was a prequel to the series. I've not seen that yet. I'm excited to watch it possibly tonight. It is going to be on Criterion later this October, which is super exciting. But this show is... It's fascinating because when I first saw it, I thought it was okay. And so I watched the new season just because it was like a TV event. Like this was one of those beloved TV shows, Cold Ever, and it's coming back. So I kind of with no expectations. I kind of hadn't forgotten most of the show. But it became the show I really liked because, and now I've rewatched the whole show. I've read Mark Frost's canonical book that is The Secret History of Twin Peaks, which just adds more to the mythology and more to the madness and more to the humor, because now the mythology includes secret expeditions by Lewis and Clark, recovered transcripts of Richard Nixon, all tying in weirdly perfectly with the mythology that says if you want to, these 30 million pieces tie together, but really it's about the experience. And when the show's at its best, that is conveyed. When you have this super chipper FBI agent who just is in awe of the trees in the town and the damn good coffee, and he uses bizarre Tibetan detective techniques, which involves throwing a rock at a bottle across the thing and popping balloons to uncover what elements of this letter from her diary could it's about the art, about the atmosphere, and it's about something really interesting. And when the world fits with that tone, all the characters fit with that tone of excitement and grief and horror, it's great. And when it doesn't know what the fuck to do, it's fucking embarrassing. But we'll get more into specifics in a little bit. But let's talk about each of us how we think overall about a Twin Peaks. 'Cause I know all four of us have watched the show, and to different amounts. I think, Pedro, have you seen technically the most? I guess. Are you caught up?
I'm either 2 or 3 behind.
Okay.
I believe I'm past. You're on episode 10.
I've seen 10.
I think 13 is my next one.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, 14 aired this week.
14 aired this week.
And there's going to be a total of 18, and it'll be a 2-part finale.
I'm on 12.
Okay.
And you've seen Fire Walk With Me.
I have not seen Fire Walk With Me.
Oh, okay.
You called it his best film.
I started watching it in theaters, and then I fell asleep. This was during David Lynch Festival. Most people I've talked to
are fucking obsessed with it.
Yeah.
That was their
that's
favorite.
what I heard
Out of
too.
all of the crazy ass shit, Fire Walk With Me was overwhelmingly it was the only one that sold out.
I do really wanna see it.
Well, I think it's kind of rare to see it, and also it's so interesting because, again, I think this mythology, if you I'm not obsessed with it. I'm a very curious bystander of the whole mythology. If I was Lost obsessed, I would be able to reread this Secret History and go I think this this is the blue book plan they refer to season 2. These are the aliens. These are the tattoos that these 3 have, and that means it's all there if you want it. And apparently, according to people I know who are like that, the deleted scenes that David Lynch re-edited for the DVD of Fire Walk With Me is also canon and is often referred to in the new season.
Well, that's nice.
So that is it's called The Missing Pieces, apparently.
All right.
So it's a show that has this much detail, but unlike Lost, it will not go out its way to explain shit to you ever.
Nope.
Characters in Lost verbally say, what are the numbers? And then someone aloud says, these are the numbers. And you go, mystery solved. This one says, if you want to, read this other book, but we're really more about this scene where Amanda Seyfried's going to be high for 2 minutes, and it's incredible. So Pedro, you've seen more than I have. Mm-hmm. You're probably a good 95% of what's out there right now.
Like
what do you think of the show?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything. Even the parts that people say are bad from a certain season, I don't know. It doesn't exist.
It does.
Man, I think the biggest thing is what you mentioned or alluded to earlier, which is shit happens and the people are a certain way. Eccentric, just weird, evil, I don't know, just messed up. And the setting, the aura of the setting fits those characters exactly. The soundtrack, all the shots, the town itself, where it's set in like this remote mountain logging wooded town in Washington where it's foggy every morning. Everyone's super nice, but there's some sort of hidden secret because, of course, it's got that weird small town vibe that there's just like, there's something not being said here. And as the story evolves, you discover more weird people, you see more weird shit, and the world just accepts it and becomes more weird in tandem. It's ridiculous, but it's not, because it has such a tight mythology. It never contradicts itself, and it never...
That is true. It almost can't, because it only expands.
Yeah.
And it expands in a really non-linear way. Whereas, like, Lost, you could tell, like, okay, this can or can't be in Lost.
Mm.
Lost could have time travel. Lost, you would say, aliens would kind of break the mythology of Lost.
Sure.
This show said, fuck it, Alien Season 2. And then,
Why not?
Then Mark Frost said, here's the 300 book, would make sense why there's aliens here now. And
Right.
you go, so you knew. So Adam, you've seen the first 2 seasons, right?
Yes.
What do you think of the show?
I'm not crazy about it, but I liked it. It took me quite a while to get into the style of it. And I think I still don't really have a strong connection with it. It doesn't really... Yeah, I just don't enjoy it as much. And I don't know what it is. I think I just wouldn't like David Lynch in person, maybe.
No.
Yeah, he sounds like he sucks.
Although I like to imagine in person he is like his character in Twin Peaks, and that he's yelling all the time.
All the time.
So
Yeah.
in my imagination, whenever I interview with him, he is screaming. Because in the show, he plays the one whose hearing is gone and is always louder than he should be. So I like to imagine that's him.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed like a swell guy. In all the scenes that I've seen of him just like talking and doing stuff, he seemed just fine.
Wait, David Lynch or his character Gordon Cole?
Oh, David Lynch. Like, everything that I've seen, him just interacting normally.
I do like that. I think he's just a really delightful weirdo. I heard about him on this news show, and I think it was Jim Belushi, who like said a line a little bit differently and added a little something, and then David just went, cut. Jim, do you want to go in timeout? He wants it exactly the way he wants it.
Yeah.
And apparently he's nice about it, but no, he's a fucking weirdo. Do it the way he
He's
wants
got
to do it.
a certain attention to detail that is ridiculous. If he could, he would build every single part of his own set.
Yeah.
Like half of his films, like shit that he built is on there. Like he made specifically with his hands, because not only he wants it to be perfect, but he wants to be part of it, like integrally in that way.
Well, it was so interesting. I saw an IndieWire article about the new season. It was jumping ahead a little bit, so I kind of skipped around and bookmarked it for later. But like certain scenes, he's using the same sound effect of like a light flickering, and he keeps repeating like certain cup props to imply a secular effect of like what this is doing to these people and making them have to kind of relive the same traumas of like the same kind of like even like melodramatic ones of like abusive boyfriends. Like he's doing this in like a really particular way that you wouldn't expect from a guy who had a 4-episode arc about a beauty pageant that went nowhere. But Sarah, you have definitely the most thoughts about Twin Peaks. I saved you for last year.
Yeah, no, so I hold the opposite opinion as Austin. But I also love Twin Peaks. I believe that Twin Peaks is best viewed as a 17-episode show. I believe that all of the mythology is the equivalent of Star Wars mitochondria and is shitty. And I care only about it to the extent that it helps inform the absolute gem of a show that the first season and a half is. And it makes me sad that David Lynch's. Let me put it this way. I've seen the whole first and second season. I have not, but at the second season, I've only seen the back half once, because it's bad. I just finished watching the finale another time, so I feel like I'm a little bit more reacquainted with the finale.
And the finale feels like a first season episode.
Yeah, it does. I've watched the first season and a half, which is like literally my belief about Twin Peaks is that you should stop watching Twin Peaks, including the new season, which I do not like. You should stop watching Twin Peaks at episode 9 of season 2, episode 9 or episode 10. We're at the end of
9. You know who did it. 10. It's resolved.
Yeah, the resolution.
Let's not say who did it, but we could talk about Bob. It makes sense.
Bob.
Well, I think we should talk about spoilers.
Oh, we should.
I want to talk about that concept.
Okay. If for some reason you're this far into our review
And you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah, if you have not seen Twin Peaks, do not listen on, please.
Yeah, no,
It
really,
is,
because
like,
it's a
very
history
important.
show primarily.
But also,
in
don't
its best-
spoil the next 2 episodes for me.
I won't.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Quick interlude. You did say Star Wars mitochondria and it's midichlorians.
Sorry, you're correct. It's midichlorians.
Mitochondria are real.
Mitochondria are weird. Are midichlorians in people's mitochondria? I think they might
They're
be.
everywhere.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're a part of like
Something.
cells.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
No, like
Yeah.
cells.
No,
you take a blood
mitochondria
test
are part
and-
of cells.
Yes.
What did you say?
I said mitochondria. I meant midichlorians.
But are metachlorians in the mitochondria?
I think they are.
Could be.
I don't remember.
Well, it's okay.
Because it's dumb.
I'm gonna send this episode of pranks, so it's fine.
So, like, my thing is... So, David Lynch is such a careful director. And what he creates in this, what I will call, like, the Laura Palmer arc, which starts with a very simple question. Who killed Laura Palmer? And ends with the answer, a force of unspeakable, unknowable, inhuman evil. Is an incredibly powerful commentary and critique of the serial killer genre, of the thriller genre, of everything that has to do with small town dysfunction. All of his direction choices are phenomenal. Everybody in Twin Peaks overacts in a way that is incredibly intentional. That everybody is more and more sort of there are no understated performances, and I think that's by design. I can't watch the first episode because there's so much raw grief in that episode that is like, it's really upsetting to me, which is impressive. It's great. I mean, it's just like it is Lynch at his best with his weird, very abstract worldview intersecting with something that feels very present and very real. He goes off the rails when he stops doing that. I really can't care about his larger mythology when it leaves that lens of that small town. I don't care. I feel like what the story is about is the idea of unknowable, unspeakable evil, which is something we don't talk about in modern art, that we don't talk about in modern cinema, we don't talk about in modernity. The idea that maybe there is an evil that is outside of us, that maybe there is something other and greater and scarier than just the shit we do to each other.
But something was different to me about the town of Twin Peaks on my rewatch, because Laura Palmer's death was a tragedy. It was their first real murder of the town, but in the same way as you deal with any sort of film noir, and they go, oh, but there's all these secrets under the surface. They're not. In fact, everyone involved isn't oh, we just don't talk about the abusive husband. He is there. Oh, there's this corruption here. Oh, there's this thing here. Everyone's wanting to burn the mill down. Everyone's wanting to do this. That woman.
Everybody wants to burn that mill down.
That one's insane. She's carrying a log around. There are these things.
The log lady's not crazy.
Log Lady is awesome.
No, Log Lady turns out to be very sane. But it isn't. This wasn't Stepford. This is
right.
And so to me, when rewatching,
but neither is any town.
Oh, I know, but that's why to me the Laura Palmer arc is so strong, and you have the brilliance of the clue in the various Silence of the Lambs Way, very directly. You know, the letter under her fingernail.
Fingernails, yeah.
Of like, oh, there's evil under the surface. Once you finish the Laura Palmer thing, the reason that arc is so strong, despite still some loose threads that just aren't as good, because I don't care about the mill or One-Eyed Jacks, or half the characters. What the show was able to do, I think, later successfully in the third season I've seen, is what should have happened in the second season too, which is Laura Palmer affected everybody. So when that murder happened, everyone felt like they're part of the plot, even if they weren't involved with the Black Lodge or anything like that, because there was grief and there was discomfort. Once that was resolved, you had characters returning to a sense of normalcy, while other characters were still looking at the themes in a different way. And the third season is able to do what they should have done, which is to leave the town. And the third season, and the 10 I've seen so far out of the eventual 18, still has elements in the town of Twin Peaks, but it has things that are going on in Vegas and going on in cities all across the country. In fact, you even have like people flying across different places to get different people who are involved. And while the effect of Laura was able to examine grief, madness, evil, and how joy can push up against that, and what in many ways the show is a fight not between good and evil, but ways you approach life. Of can you find the happiness that Cooper sees in the days, or do you get engulfed in this? And to then expand it into, this isn't a story about small town America, but it's a story about all of America, and not just to try to replicate a young blonde's murder. You're seeing trauma based on the effects of what they were doing in their initial seasons, and you're having we're full spoilers now, right?
We can do spoilers.
We'll do seasons 1 and 2, because I mean 3's still out now and you haven't seen any of it. But I mean, season 2 ends, especially if you thought that was the end of the series, horribly cynical, where Agent Cooper, his first time falling in love with the whole series after the girl he liked was killed on his case before coming to Twin Peaks. This crazy person who wants to unlock evil believes that if he murders her, that nature of fear and goodness will open up the Black Lodge, and thus kills Heather Graham. Agent Cooper tries to track him down, goes into the Black Lodge, gets corrupted, and is possessed by the man who is
Not a
this
man.
Bob. Capital B, capital O, capital B. This force who was at once, partners with Mike, who is just, he is someone who can't be contained in this realm of madness and needs to break free to weaker people to just do harm. And now our most innocent character, his soul is trapped in hell for, like, not hell, but like in a madness for 25 years, and his body is being used to do harm. That's how the show ends in season 2. And now you're using that effect not just because of the Bob possessed Cooper doing harm in the world for 25 years. You're using the loss and the unsatisfaction to be a different kind of trauma than Laura Palmer was.
Laura Palmer set everything off. Like,
Yeah.
she shook the foundation of the town. And that's when, like, okay, so yeah, everyone knows about One-Eyed Jacks. Everyone knows that people are fighting over the mill. Everyone knows this, but when this traumatic event hits the town, and it is during a transition point because of otherworldly things that are happening, everything, like, it really
Boils
freaks
over.
everyone out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the reasons why I cared about One-Eyed Jacks was that's where bad people are that habitually kill people.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them raped and murdered Laura Palmer, because there seems to be that going on with that crowd. So, like, following that mystery, the who killed Laura Palmer,
Right.
especially from the eyes of Agent Cooper, who's kind of the main character.
Oh, absolutely.
Stranger in a strange land. Like, he has to know. He has to go and see what's happening. And he's got this weird in-tuneness that you mentioned too earlier. He's somehow able to tap into this energy, or just accept it, let it happen. And the reason why I'm okay with the season after the resolution-ish of who killed Laura Palmer. Can we spoil it? No, but let's not say it.
Wait, I just said in detail the last 10 minutes of
Yeah.
season 2. We can do.
Yeah, no.
We can say it was.
And I said
Okay,
too.
Leland.
Because we want to talk about. There's things to talk
Possessed.
Leland was
Yeah.
possessed by Bob, and he did all these things. Once it was resolved, it released this. It just made it worse. It was Leland. Like, that's ridiculous. And then the rest of the series is everything falling to shit. Like, even his storytelling, if you want to go that route, I don't think so. Like, I think it's supposed to get, like, all haywire and disconnected and sort of ADD, because there is no focus anymore. That was fixed, but it doesn't change the fact that this power that did this thing in the beginning, in the first place, is still out there, and it's a known power. Like, I think they alluded to, like, military intelligence was going around trying to figure out where this
Right, it's
energy
clear
was
the
from, with
FBI is like
the Black Lodge and the
tracking
White Lodge
things,
type
yeah.
thing. Like,
Right.
So it's something that's been important. We sort of get introduced into a later stage of something that's already been being investigated, and I think it works. And when I was I was binge watching the shit out of this. So that last episode, I was like, it ended, and then that little Netflix thing where it's not the next episode on your coming up. I was like, wait, that was it? That was the end?
Yeah.
How's Annie? What the fuck? And then I just I felt this unfinished business, I guess. If I died that day, I would have been a ghost.
I feel like I guess
You won't pass over until David Lynch tells you some more shit about
Exactly.
see, and here's my thing. I think what David Lynch is doing about the nature of evil is interesting. I'm willing to engage with him on an artistic level. The reason I make the recommendation that I do, that Twin Peaks is worthwhile primarily in the Laura Palmer story, is because what Twin Peaks does that nothing else does anywhere, and I mean anywhere, is make that super high art, crazy mythology shit that is a little masturbatory and a little... It makes it accessible. And this was a hit. And it was a hit because the mystery of who killed Laura Palmer is legitimately interesting enough that you can have theories. That the first time that I watched it, I was completely shocked by the resolution. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, so good, and yet, like, it's such a well-constructed mystery, and it makes sense the whole time, and it's really affecting. After that, it just becomes fucking David Lynch. And yeah, if you're into David Lynch, great. If you're into David Lynch, you've also read 1,000 other things that are also like David Lynch, and he's part of a whole conversation, and that's great. Twin Peaks at its best is way more than that. Twin Peaks at its best is television reaching out to a mainstream audience and saying, think about something bigger. Think about... watch your Mystery of the Week show, but then talk about what it means to think about what the nature of human evil means. And really go there, and really, kind of bait and switch its audience into thinking that it's watching a weird, quirky mystery show, and then make it about something. And I just think that it's...
I think it did a new bait and switch this time, because I think what was... We kind of forget now that, when he made the first season, he was known as Razorhead, right? Blue Bell.
Right.
He was, this named director doing television before television was good.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And so now he's returning, and they go... Oh wow, we have another show returning. It's like Full House
I
and
agree.
Gilmore Girls.
And he's done something a little bit more interesting
and he said
with that.
he's even called Twin Peaks The Return. And they go, oh, here we go. Can't wait to see what all of our good friends are doing. Wonder what Lucy's up to.
Yeah, no, he didn't do that thing.
And he goes, no. We're going to tell you, season 3 of this show, this is not where you start.
Yeah.
And that is, and it's done so artistically. Because, season 1 and 2 were so beautiful. Especially when he's directing. So beautiful.
Yeah.
And now it's saying that was... We disguised ourselves as an ABC melodrama.
Yeah.
And now we are disguising us as a Showtime show, which usually means shitty.
Yeah.
And now it's good.
No, it's true. And I don't mean to disparage what he's doing in the later seasons. It's not for me. I don't actually think that what David Lynch has to say about evil is all that interesting. I'm really interested in questions of evil. But I just think it's worth. I don't know. I am troubled as I try to henge this by the idea that I'm supposed to henge the whole thing, including season 3. Because to me, there are two different things. There is the Laura Palmer story, and there is whatever other bullshit David Lynch decided Twin Peaks was, which is great, but this other thing is a gem.
It is the original.
The other thing is a gem. And this other stuff is something I'm not into, and I don't care about, and I don't think I would recommend to people. I would recommend the original Twin Peaks to literally anyone. It is amazing. Everyone should watch it. I can't recommend this whole thing to them because it's weird. A lot of it is weird artistic masturbatory bullshit.
I would say there are 3 pieces. The Laura Palmer arc, 10
Bad times.
10 shitty episodes, another episode,
Yeah.
that would tie back to Laura Palmer arc.
Right.
And then this new season, which I think is something incredible. I might watch Fire Walk with Me, and I'll say it's a 4-part,
Who knows?
3-season show. But I have one more thing I want to get into, kind of thematically once all discussed, but I feel that Adam hasn't talked enough again. Adam, what do you think?
Oh,
I
haven't given it much thought, to be honest.
All right.
I liked it, but it was just fine. I wasn't crazy about it.
It didn't get you.
It didn't get me.
Twin Peaks, the first part of Twin Peaks, made me cry when the theme song went on.
Yeah.
Like, there's something weird
That
and
is an
almost
excellent theme.
almost
There's,
mystical about that theme song.
There's a
that,
great clip, I think it was before Fire Walk With Me, where it was David Lynch, it was the guy talking about coming up with the
it's
theme
so
for
fucking
David Lynch.
good.
And he's like, just give me something weird, creepy, ominous, and he just started, and his first chord, he nailed it off the bat. His first chord was that first opening
I literally,
sad song.
when I started watching it, I had to start skipping through the theme song because it messed with me. It was and that's the thing that David Lynch does that is really impressive as a director. He has this weird, he gets at something weird and Freudian and subconscious that fucks with you. And a lot of stuff that he does, and it's part of his goal, I think.
He knows every emotion. During this show, he hits comedic points perfectly.
Yeah.
He hits sad points, depressing points, just every emotion he can get, and then he'll fuck with you because he'll also mix them.
Yeah.
There'll be a crack during a really gruesome murder scene, but then 5 minutes later, when it's kind of peaceful, he'll bring up the soundtrack and just make you feel weird and awful.
Well, he even do it in the same actual act sometimes, because rewatching the pilot.
I can't. I told Austin
Yeah.
I refuse to rewatch the pilot because I can't do it. It's too much.
Sorry, she walked across the pod bay. She had to pace a little bit.
Sorry, I need beer.
It's a big pod bag, guys.
Your design is fascinating.
Thank you.
But Ray Wise, who plays Leland, incredible actor. Part of the notable thing, 'cause I remember I first watched the pilot with Pedro many years ago.
Shit, was that your first time too?
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, I remember that.
There were
We saw,
2
2
things
episodes, I
I
think,
remember that night. It was so much fun because, unfortunately, this part's not on Netflix. The Log Lady introductions on the DVDs fucked up Pedro.
Yeah.
That's
Because
great. That makes me happy.
Who is this?
It is.
Log Lady is the best part of Twin
It's
Peaks.
about 2 minutes of the log lady with her log staring at the camera in a candlelit room saying crazy poetic gibberish, and Pedro was like, "The fuck are we watching?"
Yep.
Twin Peaks is great.
And then also in the pilot, we're enjoying it, but just everyone cries in the pilot.
Yes.
But I'm not saying they stoically John Wayne cry.
No.
They fucking bawl, and the way that Ray Wise's Leland cries is funny and heartbreaking. So it is in the same moment is that kind of Lynchian mixture of it.
It's that weird overacting thing that somehow, as the show progresses, they act the same level of overacting, but somehow everything else accommodates it, and it doesn't feel it's not as jarring.
It's fun. I mean, what I will say
I
is,
think
so
if you
I've
mellow up. Bobby Mellow's a motherfucker.
So, the thing about the grief, which I think is so much about what the first season is about, I've had the unfortunate experience of being around a lot of abject grief in the past couple years. The reason it gets to us is because that's what grieving people really look like. And we don't do that on TV. We don't have people look like what they really look like. We don't watch people's hearts get broken. Most actors don't act that way. He gets at something very distressing.
It's one of the greatest. I'm losing mine. The basic magic term. Look the other way. Misdirection. Is that Leland is the killer? The dad's is the killer, possessed by Bob. And all of the obvious clues that it's him, everyone throws away because you think it's a grieving father.
Yeah.
Or a grieving mother.
Your mother, exactly. So it is this idea that, like, you make all that madness and grief look the same. Because
Right. Yeah.
Bob's not just, like, the devil. Bob is an animal. He is, he is a hyena. And Bob just keeps, like, twitching and freaking out and breaking stuff and dancing and pouring toothpaste on the sink. He's just his madness. And talking about Bob, let's get to my final point, which is so many different shows have been influenced by Twin Peaks over the years. Notably, David Lindelof's a huge fan, and you see that through Lost, and especially Leftovers, I think.
The X-Files.
The X-Files definitely was affected by it. You see also in, like, Legion recently.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, any show about madness, which is, I somehow make every show about madness, so all shows. America's Got Talent, Gotham, all of them.
No.
This show, Legion, that was just mentioned, is the only one that uses those elements, I think, in a way where the unknown in, let's say, Lost and Leftovers is one of mystery, and the idea that mystery can cause discomfort, but mystery can ultimately be okay if you are patient.
That's all.
This show says that what you don't know is horrifying, and there is no comfort in what is behind the curtains or in the shadows, and that this show is legitimately scary.
You've got to make my Lovecraft point, because I've been making it forever the past couple weeks.
No. Bob across the bed. What's your Lovecraft point?
No, it's the same point that, H.P. Lovecraft noted, person that probably none of us should read, because he's just, like, the worst racist in the world. But
so
also
racist.
But I was like, so racist. Like, I just want to point that out up front.
He's like President of the United States racist.
It, like, makes me really uncomfortable to talk about H.P. Lovecraft, but on the other hand, he's the architect of, like, so much of horror. But H.P. Lovecraft and David Lynch in Twin Peaks, I think, asked the same question. They say, what if there is a force that is greater than us and bigger and stronger and outside of humanity? And what if it is only darkness that wants to destroy us? And what if that's how the world really is? And that shit is fucked up. That shit is primal, crazy, and fucked up. And those two people and their art affect me the same way.
And that's the great thing. You have Bob, who is this terrifying image, and what's so cool about the first two seasons, season 3 is also super scary at times. Right, so I think even when there are images that are not Bob, and Bob is brilliant because, especially the first two seasons, there's terrible things in the third season, the first two seasons are brilliantly low budget. Most of the greatest fears of this show is just this man. And he's this man coming up from under the bed. There's no CGI, and there's not even that many lighting tricks.
Yeah.
It is just him laugh screaming. And then when you see someone like...
it's like one of the worst jump scares in all of television.
Yeah.
And whenever they repeat the imagery of just Bob near a bed, it affects you. And when you have other supernatural entities, they are, I guess, good. Really, they're more just neutral, and they just can't keep Bob at bay. There is no Guild of the Good Witch in this show. The Black Lodge, this crazy ass place with the crazy floor, is just madness. It's just madness that will torture our hero for 25 years. And the show, season 3, does get some bigger budgets, and it still uses that bit of minimalism. Very vague right now, but this isn't the fourth scene, so I don't mean cover yours if you want for a second. You just, because
Wayne, come here.
Lynch is a really good director, and there is this young man. You don't know why he's there, and there are 12 cameras facing an empty glass box that is being lifted in the middle of a room.
On top of a bunch of gizmos that you can only assume are sensors and all this good stuff.
And you spend half of the first episode silently watching him watch this empty box. And you go, what the fuck is happening? This is terrifying. And the show is meant to be scary in a way that The Leftovers, Lost, nothing like that was ever trying to evoke I mean, Lost is ultimately about good versus evil, but evil was never supposed to make you not sleep at night, and Lynch wants you to feel that, and I think that makes the show stand out. Even when it's too easy just to rail on the shitty half season too, because I could bring up the 10 stupid plot lines and Pedro go, what were you talking about? I was talking about the good stuff. Like, and to me, like, even during those parts, you'll have these moments of just like, when they add new mythology, you don't know what's going on. They're not going to explain it. You can figure out if you want to, but it's just unsettling, and that's really effective.
It glues you, like, immediately.
To a bedpost.
Yep. When I first saw Bob for the very first time, I'm like, that guy did it, right?
Right.
Everyone thought that.
I mean,
It's
that's the point. Yeah.
But then that you keep going through the thing, and you're like, well, maybe them, but where's the other guy? That guy did it, right? And then every time you see him, you're like, yeah, he definitely did it. It was weird going through, and until the finally reveal, like, oh, same thing, cool. That part messed with me the whole time, because I'm like, who done it? But also, like, in the first episode, he shows you who did, and you know it, but...
And it's painfully unsatisfying, because you
Yeah.
go, okay, Leland did it. Okay, Leland didn't really do it. Leland got manipulated by an evil force who's not captured, and we all have to live tomorrow. Like, the answer is, like, who killed Lily Kane and Veronica Mars is evoking something similar.
Oh, yeah.
But when you know who killed Lily Kane, I'm not going to tell you, because you should all watch Veronica Mars from the shows. You feel justice. At the end, it's still a complicated noir world. But,
Yeah,
like,
but that's not what...
at least you know, like, this person, like, can go behind bars and sleeps at night. I don't know, like, I still don't get, like, scared by shows, but I'm just, like, amazed by what it's doing, like, the talking backwards, the bizarre imagery, it's nothing like you see on TV. You don't see proper horror on TVs. Horror's all just jump scares. This, and I think really Legion this year, which I really love, can't say who, a villain in Legion is really effectively creepy, because you just don't understand what this person is going to do. Do you agree, Sarah? You've seen Legion. Right?
What? Sorry?
Legion, scary?
Yes! Terrifying. In a very similar way, I think.
Yeah.
And for similar reasons. Right? I mean, that's the thing, right?
It's madness, too.
Right, I mean, it's the face of madness and evil. It's just sort of, yeah. Wow, we've successfully talked about Twin Peaks for 40 minutes. It's well beyond time to henge it.
I am worried that we were not going to be a obnoxiously long episode, and we did it.
We did it, guys. Congratulations.
That's what happens when I rewatch an entire series to this podcast.
It was worth it, though. It's just
It's
fucking
great stuff.
Peaks.
It's great stuff.
It is, and I kind of want to, like, maybe we keep talking about doing bonus episodes, we haven't done one yet, because
we've just
we
talked
keep
for 40 minutes.
we keep forgetting to watch the rest of 24, which is like episode 8.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but like we just did a bonus episode. That's
I know, but like,
Twin Peaks.
but the new season Twin Peaks ends in like a few weeks.
That's fair.
Maybe we'll come back and do
We'll
some
come
more.
back. That's fair.
But right now, this is insane. I'm only going to give this a 4.4 because the highs are very, very high, but boy, we did not discuss the lows.
Yeah,
We alluded.
they're bad.
Miss Twin Peaks contest. I personally think she's a teenager. The guy thinking he's in the Confederacy War all the time.
It's terrible. Terrible shit.
Bobby, Leo being paralyzed, and they're doing like a weird Weekend at Bernie's thing for 5
I like that thing. That thing I like.
No, that's also during,
That thing is good.
That is during the Laura Palmer
That's
arc.
during the Laura Palmer arc, and it's great.
An episode,
Because he could have done it.
an episode when they thought...
Exactly, and that's why it's fun.
No, he's a red herring the whole time. When Agent Cooper, they thought he might get lose his license because he went to Canada. Fucking shit. Oh, Billy Zane. Billy Zane's in half the show.
Oh, I love Billy Zane.
Fuck you. Of course I love Billy Zane. So 4.4 of innovative, brilliant TV plus 10 episodes of shit before the episode season.
I find this incredibly hard to henge because, like I said, I think it's two separate things. It's the show that David Lynch wanted to create and the show that David Lynch accidentally created. The accidental one is amazing. The one he wanted to create is fine. 3.7. But only because I'm ranking the whole thing. If I was ranking just the Laura Palmer arc, it would probably be a 4.9. I fucking love it. So that's why I'm grumpy, because I hate having to give one of my favorite shows a 3.7 because there was so much trash.
I don't comprehend at all. 5.
I'm gonna say 3.9.
Or that is Twin Peaks. First 2 seasons are on Netflix. Fire Walk with Me is on Showtime, and so season 3 on Showtime, which you can get as an Amazon channel, which is what I did. Wait, I think I'm getting a faint signal. Do we get signals here?
Sure.
Yeah, it's space. Where do our signals go?
My phone's been working the whole time. Has your phone not been working?
Psst. Psst. Hey, Austin. Can you guys hear me? Look, I don't know what's going on. All I know is that Marian is somehow or for some reason keeping me captive in here. She just keeps talking about and listing like fruit. I don't know. I didn't know there were that many kinds of fruit. I think she's actually making things up now. Anyway, I don't know how long I have, so I'm just going to run through everything that we're going to review this week. The movie, Vinyl, was super weird, didn't understand it, never really liked Andy Warhol, don't get it, think his whole art shtick is, well, just that, a shtick. Definitely was uncomfortable by this movie, and I don't necessarily know if that was actually his point or what. Still, didn't like it. 2 henges. The album is Fear of Music by the Talking Heads. It's their 3rd studio album that came out in August of 1979. I'm not a huge fan of the Talking Heads, so this was kind of a new and different experience for me. All I've really known from them before is Psycho Killer because of Rock Band, and then whatever has been in random various soundtracks and movies that I've seen. I don't hate them, but I haven't really listened to them before. This album was very strong. It was very consistent. It piqued my interest definitely in the Talking Heads, so I will be probably checking them out more in the future. But this isn't necessarily an album I would listen to again. I'll give it 3.5 henges. It was interesting. How about that? The song is Hotel California by the Eagles, and you know what? This song is just so good. I love this song. What's there to not like about it? It's a classic rock song. Anecdotally, one summer I was cursed by Bethany to work at a movie theater cleaning bathrooms. Yeah, and I had to get there at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, was not fun. Was actually cursed that summer. But every day, to make it worse, on the radio for about 3 weeks, I heard Hotel California. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, when you're mildly sleep deprived, the song gets a little creepy. The TV show, Twin Peaks, I haven't seen all of it, and I haven't seen it what I have seen has been a little while, but I do remember it being really weird, and I didn't really like it. I do want to revisit it, though, because I am a huge fan of Riverdale, and I've been told that Riverdale is like the CW version of Twin Peaks, so I will be checking that out at some point. Huh? What? No, Marian, I'm not trying to call for help. Sure, I would love to listen to you list vegetables. Guys, please, help me. Still trapped by Marian. Still trapped by Marian. Still trapped by Marian. Oh, just hanging out, being trapped by Marian. Rescuing me would be pretty cool right now, guys. Yep, still trapped by Marian.
There's Wi-Fi on this ship.
Shut the fuck up. Let's listen carefully. All right, it's good that Leigh's okay.
That's always good to hear, yeah.
She seems more bored than hurt.
That's good. That's what we want.
Marian's not going to hurt her. It's fine.
So, hopefully we'll be inspired soon to figure out how to actually handle Marian, because we thought we had a brilliant plan, then we rewatched Battle of Algiers and realized that's super depressing. We shouldn't like ever make a parody of that plot. So maybe we'll find a really convoluted plot to defeat an obnoxious villain in our next thing. I need a number. What's our number for next week?
Well,
69.
yeah. Except I don't like the really early stuff because sometimes it gets weird.
96?
Why don't we just flip that 9 again? 696.
690. Ooh.
It's a nice
Best of
number.
both worlds.
Palindrome. We love palindromes, Pedro.
Yes, we
Actually, 696 is even crazier. You guys good with that? All right.
No.
Let's
do.
go.
6 divisible by 3.
That's. I mean, it's just a threesome, right?
6?
Yeah, except someone's facing the wrong way.
Divisible by 2.
That's true. It's no 696. 696. No 696.
If two people having sex,
two
and
people having a
someone's
really good
asleep.
time, and someone asleep next to them.
Yeah, it's awful.
What's 12 plus 9? 21.
Shut up.
Okay, so not 9. Anyway.
Anyway, we're doing 696.
We'll go with that.
You know the movie?
It's Return of the Jedi, guys.
Wait, what?
Wait, is
Fuck?
it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been saying for many episodes that there's only 2 stars on this list. Did I block out one on this list? Is Return of the Jedi actually on this list?
It is.
Yeah.
Man, if only that movie had a convoluted... Wait a second. I think I know how to stop Marian.
The food is vanilla bean, which is tasty.
The song is Fast Car by Tracy Chapman.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite songs ever.
Oh, I don't think... we'll let Leigh know what album she's listening to over in her thing, which is Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Back by Public Enemy.
That is incredibly cool that
That's
lines up
crazy.
with Return of the Jedi.
Right?
What else we got?
The children's book is A Series of Unfortunate Events, The Bad Beginning by
Holy
Leigh Snicket.
shit.
This is a good number, guys.
Man, that's not
See,
really...
this just proves that we should just pick numbers. Because we do good.
Well, I'm sure the TV show's gonna be a really like nuanced, awesome, deep show like Twin Peaks. It's Robot Chicken. Fuck.
Cool.
Yes.
I mean, there's good stuff in Robot Chicken.
There's Star Wars parodies and Robot Chickens.
There
The
are indeed.
transitions
Oh
are
my
right,
god, it's
Austin.
right there.
There's 3 things in between.
You'll figure it out, I'm sure.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
All Star Wars
I
transitions.
fucking nail this. We got this. Write this down. Defeat AI. All Star Wars.
We wouldn't have to defeat
transitions.
the AI if she'd just been nice to her.
Shut up. All right, here we go. Anyhow, thank you all for listening. You all are great. We love you.
We do
If
things,
you-
right?
We do
Other
things. If you have some comments on Twin Peaks or anything else we discussed, go on over to artimmortal.com and leave a comment there. We'd love to hear what you have to say about what's going on. If you have any theories about Twin Peaks, I would love to talk about you. Again, I read that book, Secrets of Twin Peaks. I need some back and forth. I need to understand all that's in that really awesomely dense book. While you're there, check out the other podcast. Let's Take 5, I am pretty sure, is coming out this week. Scheduling is a bit crazy, so if there's not, there'll be one next week. But if there is one, it'll be Shortcuts, and it'll be episode 69.
Ad Absurdum has no such excuse, but will probably come out this week, just like it was probably going to come out last week, but really maybe this time for real. It's Westworld, let's be good or whatever.
Here's a fun fact. If Westworld doesn't come out for this episode, Sarah's going to be in outer space. We're going to launch her out of the airlock.
I'm sorry, I suck.
I'm not gonna launch her out of the airlock.
All right.
Austin, why are you the villain here?
We're 5 people.
If only I had...
Why do you not, come on,
If
man.
I had a nuanced legal podcast explain to me that AIs have feelings, then I wouldn't
Ooh,
do
that's a
this.
good point.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll actually release it, maybe.
So yeah, if person you've been holding off watching Westworld, waiting for this podcast,
Sorry.
you're probably caught up now.
Yep.
I don't know. Oh, thank you all for listening. If you subscribed to the podcast, there was a I don't know what this word means, non-canonical episode. We all pretended that we weren't immortal and not on a spaceship. We played Millionaire.
It was good times.
Based
I
on
won.
stuff we reviewed.
Barely.
If you haven't heard it, there's the spoiler.
I did good.
So yeah, take a listen to that episode. It was very fun, and it involved original music by a certain A Lord.
Cool.
Where can we find your work?
Songsbyalord.com.
Nice.
And I kind of ripped off the Millionaire songs on that one. So don't use that. Listen to my other stuff first.
No, hey, you made it copyright free,
True.
which is all that matters.
That is all that matters.
In that, I told
As
you,
a lawyer.
this is what matters. Don't make sure you do this.
Right.
Anyhow, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, immortals at artimmortal.com, leave us a review on iTunes, yada, yada, yada. You all get it. Come back next week, we're going to review really popular things. And that'll be episode 89.
Yay.
Maybe we'll defeat Marian, and then the week after, we'll Pedro a bonus review, which we're not going to say right now.
Oh, fuck, I will.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Woo.
Woo.
Anyway,
I'm Austin.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Pedro.
Oh, yes, Leigh.
She'll be back. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.